All right, welcome everybody. Listen, let me do the due diligence and let you know who this magnificent man was that you were just listening to. All of this is backed by a wonderful company by the name of Akana, which means in the hands of God. And we really take that very, very seriously. We launched our company on 4/20 of 2019 with a line of CBD products and then essential oils and wellness. Then in 2021, we were introduced to the flat belly lifestyle. We have more than really 30,000 customers, and we're proud to say that we reinvest 1% of our gross profits to empower undeserved communities. You see this wonderful medical advisory board. Yes, we've got MDs and DOs, and we've got chiropractors and RNs and LVNs. But tonight you have the privilege and the honor to be in the presence of Dr. Eric Prince that hails out of Chicago. I mean, he's traveling all over the country. He's being a blessing to so many people, and he's a naturopathic doctor. So please receive tonight, everybody, Dr. Eric Prince.
Thank you, Dr. Roz. I appreciate you. Thank you for that intro. And with great humility, I come before everyone here to let you know that it's been a rough ride to this point. I did not get here easily. In fact, I didn't even choose to go this route. I was chosen to go this route. And when you're chosen to go a particular route, you go that route despite how you feel, despite whether you don't want to go or you doubt how you're going there or how you're going to get there. You just kind of take it and you stay in faith. So I had to stay in faith as I took this journey, because back in 2002, I had what's called an outer body experience. And this outer body experience happened as out of nowhere. It was, I guess you could say, it was like a thief in the night. I know we hear that in scripture, but yeah, it came like a thief in the night. I was sitting in my mom's house, and all of a sudden I was watching television, wasn't doing anything special, and it felt like a beam of light hit me right in my forehead. I don't know where it came from. I don't even know if it was really a beam of light. I don't know what it was, but it felt like it did, because when it happened, my consciousness separated from my physical body. My consciousness separated from my physical body. And in that moment, I realized I was not my body. Now, we have been told that before, but it's different when you're told it. That's semantics. It's different when you're told it as opposed to when you actually have the experience. When I had the experience, let me tell you, I went into the quantum realm. The quantum realm is real. Even before all of these movies showed up, when I had that out of body experience, I went into a quantum realm. In that realm, I saw eternity. But what I saw in eternity, I saw two sides of it. I saw the good side and I saw the bad side. And that's what scared the hell out of me. The fact that death does not end life. Everyone is going to live forever. It just depends on which side of the fence you want to live on. So after that experience, everything changed. And it brought me to where I'm at right now. There's a lot of stuff in the middle, but I'm not going to go over right now. But it stemmed from that out of body experience. That was the beginning of the rest of my life from that point. So whoever I was before that out of body experience, whatever past that person had, changed in 2002. And that's why it's so important for you to understand that each one of us are interdimensional, multi-dimensional beings. We see ourselves as physical, but think about it. Even when you go to sleep and you have a dream, doesn't that dream feel just as real as right now? Until you wake up and you realize, wow, I was just dreaming, because now your consciousness is back in this body. But when you go to sleep, your consciousness separates from your body and it travels through the astral plane, and it go and experience different realities. Some may be nightmares, some may be pleasant dreams, but nonetheless, you are in first person in that dream. You're not looking at yourself in the dream, you're at first person. So you're actually living it out. Just like right now, we're all in first person. First person means you put your hands up, you see your hands. You don't see your face, you don't see your eyes, you see your hands. That's first person. So when it comes to consciousness, when it comes to the quantum realm, there are a lot of things we just didn't know that the medical system, unfortunately, wasn't able to help in building and creating their system. So now we have a system, a medical system, and we have medical advisory board, and they are great people, and they are helping to put this all together. They are medical doctors, nurses, and we're all coming together to formulate a plan that will help our people to eradicate, resolve, and rebalance their health. So let's take a look at this first scan. So here's the color codes we're looking at, and if they're visually impaired or hearing impaired, please let us know now. If there's anyone visually impaired or hearing impaired, because I'm going to explain it, but when I talk about color codes, you may not be able to understand it from that perspective. So let me know so I can be more thorough when I explain it. So it starts off, the bioscan is going to show you a progression that's happening in your body over time. Yes, there's a progression happening in your body over time, and you don't know about it. In fact, you're feeling well, running, jumping, vacationing, partying, going on picnics. You're having a ball. Meanwhile, there's something happening in your body, and you won't really know about it until it reaches a point where your body stops compensating for the lack of oxygen to the tissue, the buildup of toxins in the body. It stops compensating, and then that's when the crisis happens. Sometimes we think it happens suddenly, but it's not suddenly. This is something that is building up in your system. And so with the bioscan, we're able to ascertain what's going on in your body first at the cellular level. What's going on in the cells lets us know what's happening in the tissue. What's happening in the tissue let us know what's happening in the organ. And once we know what's going on in the organ, we understand what's happening in your body. So literally, we're going back to the prime state. So prime state would be considered normal. Normal range represented by the color green. Mildly abnormal is the beginning of imbalance. The beginning of imbalance. Now, imbalance is not disease. Imbalance is just imbalance. But if the imbalance is never corrected, if the balance is never resolved or addressed, then it progresses from mild to moderate to severe. Normal to mild to moderate to severe. That's your progression. What does that look like? It looks like you are patiently waiting until it goes from green, where everything is all go, to red. That's where it all stops. From green, go, to red, stop. We're progressing throughout our life. So this is going to show you where you are on this scale of progression. Next slide. So the first one we want to talk about is cardiovascular and cerebral vascular report card. Pull out your heart and brain report card. Now we're about to see what's going on your report card. Your heart and brain report card. So we're going to start at the top and work our way down. So from, let's see, green, blue, yellow, red. So those are your colors. But as you can see, they're on each side of the fence. So any indicator to the right of the green means increase in that particular item. Any indicator to the left of the green means a decrease in that particular item. The first column are the items tested. The second column, which says normal range. The third column is your values. So normal range is where they should be. The third column is where you are. The color code reflects where you are. So let's look at blood viscosity. Blood viscosity has to do with the thickness of your blood. Well, this item is either going to be green or to the right. Green or to the right. That means that you're either going to have normal blood viscosity or you're going to have an increase in blood viscosity. An increase in blood viscosity means your blood is gradually getting thicker. This is why they put people on heparin, or they put people on blood thinners, because the blood is getting thick. So if you have mild, moderate, or severe blood viscosity to the right, then there's a good chance you need to start cleaning your blood, not thinning your blood. But if you clean your blood, you will naturally thin your blood. But to actually thin your blood out, that's a different type of chemical and drug that's used in order to thin your blood out so it won't clot. So this is the medical way of doing it. So every now and again, I'll switch back to the medical way and the holistic way so you can see the contrast. I want you to understand the difference between the two, because it's two different approaches to addressing your health. So anytime we have blood viscosity to the right, whether it's blue, yellow, or red, your blood is thickening. And if you drop down, let's go one down past cholesterol. We're going to come back to cholesterol, but let's go down to blood fat. Now, blood fat is the same thing. Blood fat represents those triglycerides in your bloodstream, or the fatty deposits that actually probably is causing the blood to get thicker, and it's causing it to slow down. So you may have on your report an increase in blood viscosity. You're probably going to also have an increase in blood fat, because they go hand in hand. If you see that, you need to clean your blood. Your blood needs to be clean because it's thickening up. You know how they say as you get older, you start to slow down, and they just said, oh, that's my metabolism is slowed down. And we have accepted that that's just how the process is of aging. Well, that's not true. The reason things are slowing down is because your blood is becoming more and more polluted. And the more polluted it becomes, the thicker it becomes, the slower it moves. Well, the problem is this: oxygen, nutrients, waste is moved through that bloodstream. You have immune cells in that bloodstream, you have enzymes in that bloodstream. So if for some reason that blood is not moving appropriately, then the question is going to be, are my cells getting the oxygen that it needs in the time that it needs it? If not, when you run up them stairs, you're going to have to catch your breath. Well, you got to catch your breath because your biology is behind. You're behind on your biology. So this is where we want to clean the blood. Cholesterol. Well, we know what cholesterol is all about. Cholesterol, believe it or not, is very important to the body. We need cholesterol. Cholesterol helps with repair. Cholesterol is produced in the liver, but it's also a byproduct of animal products. So anytime we're dealing with cholesterol that's increasing, it's because we're consuming a few too extra animals or animal products. I'm vegan, so I've been vegan since 2004. 2004, I've been vegan, so I stopped eating animals, stopped eating meat, anything with eyeballs and parents. I don't deal with. Let that family live. So what I'm saying is that we're getting a lot of extra cholesterol from the animal products because you don't need any dietary cholesterol. You don't need anything from your diet in order to manage your cholesterol. Your liver produces a sufficient amount of cholesterol. But when you eat animal products, beef, pork, chicken, turkey, lamb, you're actually adding to what you don't need. So if you have cholesterol, it's going to be either green or to the right. Green or to the right, which means an increase. Drop down to vascular resistance. Vascular resistance is either going to be green or to the right. Vascular resistance is an increase in resistance inside the vascular system. The question is, how are you processing your environment? How are you managing your situations and circumstances? Are you stressing over them? Are they even stressful? How you process your environment, how you manage stress is indicated through vascular resistance. If there's an increase and you're in the yellow, as this particular item is, or if you're in the red, then you're not managing your stress well. You may think you are, but you're just accustomed to how you're managing your stress right now. That doesn't mean you're managing it right. That means that you have adapted a way, and that's who you are because you're now hardwired in the personality that manages stress bad. So that means you have to start working on breaking the habit of who you are, breaking the habit of being yourself. Because if how you manage stress is causing your vascular resistance to increase, then you have to become someone else. in order to reverse that process. So blood pressure can be reflected as well. So if people are on blood pressure medication, sometimes you'll see an increase in vascular resistance as well. But you don't necessarily have to have a blood pressure issue to have an increase in your vascular resistance. So, but it is stress related. The next one down is vascular elasticity. Vascular elasticity. So this item is either going to be green or to the left. Green or to the left. That means a decrease. Let's read it like this. Let's look at this particular item. It says there's a moderate decrease in the elasticity in the vascular system around the heart. There's a moderate decrease in elasticity around the heart. Well, what does that mean? That means that if the elasticity is decreasing, well, that means that plaque is building up in your vascular system. Why plaque? Because plaque hardens the arteries. They call it arterial sclerosis. Arterial sclerosis. So take a look at this particular picture. Look at the one on the right. At the top, you have a nice, clean, clear flowing blood vessel. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it was in your prime, 18, 19, 20. But over time, if you're consuming a lot of animal products or processed food or dairy, then you're going to start seeing plaque building up on the walls of the vascular system. Now, let me say this. This is interesting. Plaque is not bad. Plaque is not bad. Plaque is another mechanism put in place by God in order to protect your blood vessels. Because if the plaque did not build up, the blood vessels would not be repaired. So plaque buildup is the repair. But here's the problem. If the damage is constantly being done to the vascular system and the body, then it's going to continue to build up until, guess what? You drop down to the last one and the flow is blocked completely. Plaque is not bad. We look at plaque and we think it's bad, but it's not. It's just the ignorance is allowing plaque to grow. With anything in the body, it's always about ignorance. I'm not saying ignorant in an ignorant way. I'm saying ignorant in a lack of knowledge. If you don't understand what's causing the plaque buildup, then it's not going to make sense to just do a bypass surgery. It's not going to make sense to put stents in and all that. Yes, those are life-saving measures, but those are not the best life-saving measures, and those are not your only options. We are giving you back your freedom to choose. Do you want to eradicate arterial sclerosis with natural medicine and a holistic approach where you go back to a clean and clear blood vessel as the top without cutting your chest open? Or do you want to let them do bypass surgery on you where they cut your chest, put different blood vessels in your heart just to bypass that channel that's blocked? Or do you want to let them put stents in? Some of you on here may already have done this. All I'm saying is this, is that as long as you have breath, you can turn anything around. But you have a choice now. Most people don't want to go down the route of the medical approach. But if that's the only option you have, that's the only option you're going to take because you want to live. I get that. We have the ability now to dissolve the plaque in the blood vessels. So in other words, if you're looking at blue, yellow, or red vascular resistance, our goal through the cleansing process, as we have already seen, is to go from red to yellow to blue back to green. I've been reversing heart disease for over 10 years. Do not tell me that it has to be the number one cause of death. It's only the number one cause of death because of ignorance. Cancer is the number two cause of death because of ignorance. Cancer is not even a disease. It's not a disease. Let me say it again. It's not a disease. It's a healing mechanism put in place just like plaque. Everything that we have been turned against, even the microbes, even the microorganisms, even the bacteria in your gut, we've been turned against the microbes. Everything that we've been turned against really is actually on our side. The holistic approach explains how everything is designed by the body through intelligence to activate its healing process and its healing mechanism. So what it turns out is that disease is actually the body's natural cleansing and healing mechanism. It's not there to destroy you. It's there to correct its own imbalance. The next one down is, there we go. Thank you. The next one down is myocardial. I don't have my reading glass on. This stuff is real small. Myocardial blood demand, but I memorize it. I know it by heart, but I'm just saying myocardial blood demand. So myocardial means heart. So anytime it says myocardial, it's talking about the heart. Myocardial blood demand. Myocardial blood demand is the amount of blood your heart demands every 60 seconds. Every 60 seconds, there's a demand. Your body has demand. Your cells have a demand. And so the heart has to keep up with that demand. If it's not keeping up with that demand, you have to understand you have about 50 trillion cells, give or take a few. 50 trillion cells in your body that requires oxygen. There's not one cell in your body that really doesn't require oxygen. All of it requires oxygen because oxygen is how the cell breathes. Your cell is a mini version of you. Your cell is a mini version of you. You eat, your cell has to eat. You have a bowel movement, your cell has to have a bowel movement. You breathe, and breathe. You breathe, your cell has to breathe as well. That's how they function. That's how they work. So in other words, your whole body is a corporation. And in order to keep that corporation running, you have to make sure you're meeting the demand of every employee that works for you to keep you alive. And not only just your cells, but the bacteria in your gut. In fact, 70% of your immune system is in your gut. And we'll talk more about that when we get to the gastrointestinal tract. So your myocardial blood demand, anytime there's an increase, the myocardial blood demand is either going to be normal or to the right. Normal or to the right. That means that as it increases, that means your heart is working a little bit harder trying to meet that demand. You get that? Your heart is working a little bit harder trying to meet that demand. We want to take it from red back to yellow, back to blue, back to green. But in order to strengthen your heart, you're going to have to do some exercise. You can't sit around and be sedentary. You have to get up. You have to do some walking. Exercise is not an option. Exercise is mandatory. Let me say that. Exercise is not an option. Exercise is mandatory. That's why you have legs. And think about it. Astronauts in space, they lose bone because there's no demand on their muscles. There's no demand on their bone. So they start losing bone in space because of the gravity. Well, on Earth, we have gravity. So that's what keeps your bones strong, keeps your muscles toned. So if you don't use them, you're going to lose them. Okay. So next one is myocardial blood perfusion volume. Myocardial blood perfusion volume. That's going to be either to the green. It's going to be either green or to the left. Green or to the left. So if it's to the left, you know there's a decrease. A decrease in what? A decrease in the volume of blood in the heart that's required to keep the heart perfused. Perfusion is the exchange of gases back and forth into the tissue, into the cells. Perfusion is that exchange of gases. So there's a volume sufficient for that perfusion. When that starts to drop, when that volume of blood starts to drop, then that is also an indication of a weakened heart. So a lot of these correspond with each other. They have partners. So if there's an increase in blood demand, it could be because of the decrease in blood perfusion volume. If you're not exercising, then you're not strengthening that heart so that it can meet that demand, then that's going to cause your volume to start to decrease. That means it's going to go to the left. And once it gets to the red, now you're looking at your heart percentage and functioning at a lesser rate. Okay. The next one is myocardial blood demand. Hold on. All right. Myocardial oxygen consumption. Obviously, anytime your heart is working a little bit harder, it's going to consume more oxygen. So this is either going to be normal or to the right, normal or to the right. A lot of times this corresponds with myocardial blood demand, because as the demand increases, the oxygen consumption is also going to increase. The goal is to get the heart back into a place where it's functioning normal without overdoing it. So example, my lowest heart rate that I've ever recorded was about 38 beats per minute. I'm sorry, not 38, 39 beats per minute. I was close to the championship in track and field, so my heart rate was based upon all the exercise and prepared and conditioned I've been doing. When I'm off season, my heart rate goes up to maybe 60, 61. So you see, your heart can get stronger as you continue to work it because it is a muscle. And so the amount of beats required at 39 beats per minute was sufficient to meet the demand of my entire body. That means I had a strong heartbeat. But let's take a person with a weak heartbeat that may need anywhere from 80 to 85 beats per minute to do the same thing. That means that their heart is probably pumping faster, but it's not pumping stronger. When your heart pumps fast, it doesn't have time to fill up. If it doesn't fill up in time, the volume is going to be decreased. The volume decreased, that means the output is going to be at a decrease as well. Now, remember, your heart has to pump against gravity to get up to the brain. So if your heart is at a weak state and all the other organs are either level to the heart or below the heart, but the brain is above the heart. So that's why disease begins in the head and degeneration, and it starts working its way down. Begins in the head and works its way down. So that memory loss, that's your first sign. So if you got some memory loss going on, yeah, you probably need to detox, because you can reverse it. You can reverse Alzheimer's, you can reverse Parkinson's, you can reverse a lot of these conditions, especially in the early stages. It's more of a challenge in the late stages because you really need the willpower and the willingness of the person. And we're going to actually go into that because there's an item called responsibility and there's a item called mental power. So that's important when it comes to healing the body and reversing a condition. The next one is stroke volume. So stroke doesn't mean the stroke that happens in your brain. Now, stroke means contraction. So this is either going to be normal or to the left, normal or to the left. Stroke volume. So this reads as there's a mild decrease in the heart when it contracts, a mild decrease of the volume of blood in the heart when it contracts. So every time the blood goes from the atrium into the ventricles contract. That contraction represents one stroke. The contraction represents one stroke. The volume of blood in the heart when it contracts, it should be normal or it's going to be at a decrease. But if you notice, stroke volume is going to correspond with your myocardial blood perfusion volume as well. So there's a good chance that if your myocardial blood perfusion volume is at a decrease, there's a good chance your stroke volume is going to be at a decrease as well. But guess what else corresponds to that? Your myocardial blood demand. So you see the pattern. If the demand is increased, the myocardial blood perfusion volume is decreased, and the stroke volume is going to be at a decrease. So what do we need to do in that situation? You need to strengthen your heart. You have to strengthen your heart. There are three things that weaken the heart: diet, a lack of exercise, and stress. Diet, a lack of exercise, and stress. Some of us may be dealing with all three, but nonetheless, these are the things that weaken the heart over time. Left ventricular ejection impedance. Left ventricular ejection impedance. So this item is either going to be normal or to the right. Normal or to the right. It reads like this: an increase an impedance. Impedance, it means resistance or obstruction or something that's hindering the flow. So there's an impedance. If there's an increase in impedance or increase in obstruction to your left ventricle, ejecting the blood out, the brain is going to be affected the most. Because remember, the brain is over the heart. So if there's any delay in the heart getting oxygen to the brain, then that's going to cause some problems. So it's important that we relieve the impedance. But let's do something here. Let's look up at vascular elasticity. Vascular elasticity. So on this report, let's just hypothetical. If the vascular elasticity is at a decrease, this particular item represents the plaque around the heart, not on the heart per se. If you go down the coronary artery elasticity, that represents the blood vessels that are actually on the heart. I want to distinguish between the blood vessels on the heart and the blood vessels on top of the heart, because the ones on top, that's measured through vascular elasticity. If there's plaque buildup in the blood vessels on top of the heart, imagine now, if that left ventricle, which carries all of the blood with the oxygen in it, when that contracts, it's ejected out through the aorta, which is the large blood vessel coming off the heart, the aorta. And the vessels coming off the aorta, if they're blocked, then there's going to be some impedance. So if you're looking at plaque buildup, vascular elasticity, you may have some plaque on top of your heart. That's the plaque we want to dissolve, because that's going to affect the ability of your heart to get blood to your brain. So as we decrease the plaque, we actually relieve the impedance. As we decrease the plaque, we relieve the impedance. So excuse me, sorry about that. Keep on rubbing my nose. I don't know what's going on. It's this fan. Next one is left ventricular pump power. I'm sorry. So this is talking about the strength of your heart. How strong is your heart? How strong is your heart? Well, now we're clear. On this item, it says that there's a decrease in the pump power. So your pump power is either going to be normal or to the left. Normal or to the left. If you're looking at mild, that's still an issue, because that means that your heart is gradually starting to get weaker and weaker. If it's in a yellow, yeah, you definitely are dealing with some stress issues. You're not managing your stress well. You're probably not eating properly. And if you're not exercising, then that's a triple threat. So we need to, in this situation, and even looking at this scan, we know now that we need to strengthen the heart of this particular person. We need to strengthen the heart, because all the factors have shown us that the heart is at a weakened state. So that's how we look at the information. Now let's drop down to coronary artery elasticity. Coronary artery. So your coronary arteries are the actual blood vessels on your heart. These are the blood vessels that supply the heart with blood and nutrients. Right. So the heart needs blood. The heart needs nutrients. Now, yeah, the heart moves the blood through, but the heart needs a little bit of that as well. So that's the blood that goes through the coronary arteries back to the heart to keep the heart pumping. This item is going to be either green or to the left. Green or to the left. If it's to the left, then that means that there's plaque buildup on your coronary arteries. Well, we already see that there's plaque buildup on top of our arteries in the vascular system, vascular elasticity. So anytime you see the word elasticity, the measure is the decrease in the elasticity, which means the increase in plaque buildup, because that's what causes us to lose our elasticity over time, plaque buildup. Well, what is that coming from? Diet. Diet is one of the main things that's causing us to build up plaque in our coronary arteries. And unfortunately, I want to say this, is that everyone that eats beef, pork, chicken, turkey, lamb, whatever combination, unfortunately is building up plaque in their coronary arteries. Everyone that eats meat at some point is going to build up plaque, and at some point is going to be dealing with heart disease. Why? Because of the nature of animal protein. If we can't break it down that well, that's what's clogging our system up. Think about it. I'm not picking on meat eaters, because I used to be a devout meat eater. But if heart disease is the #1 cause of death in America, that means that we're a country of herbivores, plant eaters, herbivores. We're a country of herbivores who believe we're carnivores. That's the trend. You have to understand that 7 out of 10 people in America, 7 out of 10 is on at least one pharmaceutical drug. That's 70% of America is on drugs. So that's why this technology is so important, because we want to erase that. We want to stop that trend, and we want to get back to a clean, clear, and functioning heart. The next one is coronary perfusion pressure. Coronary perfusion pressure is going to be either normal or to the right, or normal and to the left. So you can have an increase in pressure in your coronaries, or you can have a decrease in pressure. Increase or decrease is not good. You want to have it normal, because if you're not managing your stress properly, then also your coronary arteries are going to elevate in pressure as well. And that can affect the perfusion. That can affect the perfusion of blood from your blood vessels or your blood into your heart. Also, if the pressure is low, then that can also affect how the heart is getting its oxygen and nutrients. So you definitely want to make sure it's right. There's a good chance that if it's low, that can also be an indication of a weak heart. If it's high, it can be an indication of not managing your stress properly. But either way, we want to do something about it, okay? The last two on this report, are dealing with your brain. So the first one is cerebral blood vessel elasticity. Well, now you're pretty educated on what it means when there's a decrease in elasticity. So this item is either going to be green and to the left. The next one, blood tissue, brain supply. Did I say that right? Yeah. So this is the blood getting to the brain. That's either going to be normal or to the left as well. So these two are either going to be normal or to the left. If there's plaque buildup in the cerebral blood vessels, if you're moving from mild to moderate when it comes to the cerebral blood vessels elasticity, that means that you're not far away from having a stroke. Just like if your coronary arteries are building up plaque, you're not far away from having a heart attack. That's why I tell people we can see heart attacks and strokes coming on the bioscan, and these are the main two items that's showing us that. Because if it's progressing and you don't do anything about it, then one thing I do know, I don't know the time, I don't know the day, but I do know that it's inevitable that plaque is going to block your blood vessels, and it's going to cause a heart attack if it's in the heart. It's going to cause a stroke if it's in the brain. So you definitely want to begin the cleansing process ASAP. And then, of course, blood supply. So let me say this about blood supply stats. You don't necessarily have to have plaque in your brain to have a decrease in your blood supply. Remember how I talked about earlier about how the heart, if it's at a decrease, or if the myocardial blood demand is high, that means the heart is falling behind. Or if the impedance is at an increase, then that's not getting the blood all the way to the brain sufficiently. It's gonna impair the blood supply to the brain. So you can have a decrease in blood supply to the brain and still have a normal reading when it comes to cerebral blood vessel elasticity. So I just wanted to point that out there, because the plaque buildup is not always going to be that way. So gastrointestinal tract. So now we're getting into your gut. What in the gut is going on? So start with pepsin. Pepsin is an enzyme that breaks down protein. In this particular report, you see that this item is either going to be green or to the left. So that means a decrease in pepsin. Anytime there's a decrease in pepsin, that means that you're not breaking down your protein as thoroughly as you used to. And if you're not breaking down a protein, then you have larger molecules of protein, undigested protein, that's clogging up your system. The whole purpose of enzymes when it comes to protein, and this is plant protein or animal protein, when it comes to enzymes, the goal is to break the protein down into its subatomic particles, its amino acids. We need the amino acids from the protein. We don't need a complete protein. We don't need a chicken breast. We don't need a steak. We need the substrates of that particular protein. We need the amino acids. When you break it down to the amino acids, we need about 9 of the amino acids. They call them essential amino acids. We need 9 of them from our protein. Well, believe it or not, a banana has all 9 amino acids. Now, I'm not saying go around eating all bananas all day, but I'm giving you an example of how there are some foods, some fruits that may have all 9 of those amino acids. Also, if you don't have them in all the fruits, you can combine different fruits, different vegetables, different dishes, and still get those amino acids. But a complete protein like a chicken breast, a steak, the problem is that you have to break it down. All food, get this, all food has to be liquefied. All food has to be liquefied in order to be able to be assimilated and digested in the system. You need pepsin to break down that food. Otherwise, your body becomes a juice extractor. And you know how much energy it takes to break down even the fruits and vegetables? Well, that's how much energy you're expending if you don't have the sufficient enzyme to help you break down the food. Gastric, anytime it says gastric peristalsis, gastric absorption, gastric peristalsis, gastric absorption. These items are either going to be green or to the left. When it says gastric, it refers to your stomach. So it's talking about in the stomach. And what do we digest in the stomach? We break down and digest protein in the stomach. So peristalsis. Peristalsis represents that muscle contraction in your gut, in your stomach, in your small intestines that moves the food through your system like a wave. That's the muscle contraction. So you ever wondered how the food moves through your system? Because the muscles are contracting and relaxing, contracting and relaxing. And as it does that, it moves the food in a sequence through your body until it gets to your colon, until it becomes eliminated. If you stood on your head, which I don't advise unless you do yoga, if you stood on your head, it will still move the food up towards your colon. That's how powerful those muscles are, unless you weaken those muscles. And that's what we're doing when we eat animal protein. We weaken those peristaltic muscles. And let me say why. And I'm not just picking on meat eaters. I'm giving you information so it can save your life. If I love you, I'm gonna tell you the truth, even if you don't like me because of it. But animal protein does not have any dietary fiber. Animal protein does not have any dietary fiber. And because it doesn't have any fiber, it makes your muscles work harder in order to digest the food. So by the time you turn 35 and you're still eating the same way, guess what? Those muscles are just not moving like they used to. So that means your digestion has just slowed down. But the question is, has your consumption slowed down? If your consumption is still moving like it was when you was in your 20s and your digestion is slowed down, then you're going to have backup in your organs, your tissue, your prostate, your uterus, your liver, your kidneys. Everything is going to be inundated with toxins and poison. That's the basis of it. So in that sense, gastric absorption, if you're not breaking down the protein, then guess what you're also not doing? You're not absorbing it. Now, there's 2 things that can happen here. There's 2 things that are happening. A decrease in absorption can be the lack of breaking it down thoroughly, or it can be the buildup of mucus in the system. If you have mucus buildup in your system, then there's going to be an absorption issue. You're not getting, let's say you break it down, but you're not going to be able to get those amino acids through that mucus effectively into the bloodstream. So therefore, you're going to have absorption issues. So now you're eating meat, but you're not even getting the protein from the meat. So you start becoming depleted in amino acids. But guess what you won't be depleted in? You won't be depleted in fat cells, because all that waste is going to be stored in fat tissue. So the weight gain looks like malnourishment. You're becoming maldeficient. Small intestines. So on this particular report, you're seeing normal, normal. But let's look at small intestines peristalsis, small intestines absorption. Same thing. Now we're in the small intestine. So we're out of the stomach, we're into the small intestines. So peristalsis, now that same muscle contraction in the small intestines, either going to be normal or to the left. Same thing with small intestine absorption. It's going to be normal or to the left. If it's to the left, that means there's a decrease in the muscle contraction in your small intestines and also a decrease in absorption in your small intestines. Well, we absorb our nutrients, our vitamins and minerals in our small intestines. So if you have mucus buildup in your system, then there's a good chance you're not absorbing your vitamins and minerals. You could be taking vitamins every day. Now, the question is, well, it's not that you're not taking them. The question is, are you absorbing those vitamins? If you have mucus in your system, then these vitamins aren't getting into your bloodstream, which means they're not going to be as effective. So that's why it's important. One of the products that I put in the cleanse is called a parasite mucus buster. The parasite mucus buster is actually designed to scrape and clean the lining of the gastrointestinal tract to get rid of the mucus in order to promote absorption of vitamins and minerals. At the same time, it's designed to kill parasites because parasites are not nice. Now, bacteria and viruses may have a good side to them, but parasites, not so much. So we need to get rid of the parasites and we need to get rid of the mucus, okay? Next one. Large intestines. So now, same thing, large intestines peristalsis is either going to be green and to the left. That's that muscle contraction. Did your digestion slow down or is it still, or are you keeping your gut clean? Colonic absorption is going to be green up to the left. Anytime there's a decrease in colonic absorption, that means that there's blockage in your large intestines. And remember that large intestines goes up, transverse, and comes down, and the waste comes out. So if there's any blockage and that muscle contraction is also behind, you're going to have a lot of backup in your large intestines, which is where a lot of that gut fat is going to come from, which is going to cause visceral fat. If you got any blockage in your gut, you're gonna see more fat being dumped and placed around your organs. They call that visceral fat. Now, we call this the fat belly cleanse as well. But you have to understand this. It's not just about vanity. Because see, your body's gonna first address the visceral fat around your organs. And once it starts addressing the visceral fat and it starts to help to clear some of that out, then it will go to the belly fat. So you're not going to see the belly fat go away until your body first address the visceral fat around your organs, because that's more detrimental to you. Okay. So next one down is intestinal bacteria. This is important because what? 70% of your immune system is where? In your gut. So this is either going to be normal or to the left. If there's a decrease in intestinal bacteria in your system, that means that you have probably more harmful bacteria than beneficial bacteria. You want more beneficial bacteria than harmful. Anytime you got a lot of waste in the gut, you're going to cause the bacteria to change size and they're going to become harmful bacteria. I mean, they still have a purpose and they're still going to break down all of that waste material, but now it's an invasion. Now you have more harmful bacteria in your gut, and that's going to also weaken your immune system because you're feeding them too much toxic organic matter and also chemical wise. So their job is to break it down and get rid of it, but unfortunately at the cost of an invasion. So what do we need to do? Another one of the products that's in the cleanse is called liquid colonic detox tea. I call it liquid colonic for two reasons. One, because it does the same work as a colonic, as a physical colonic, but it actually gets the whole gastrointestinal tract. And also I call it liquid colonic because it's like liquid Drano. Some of you guys, plumbing and sewer system is blocked up and you need something strong to unclog it. No healing can take place in your body until you first clean out your sewer system. I don't care what medications, surgeries you get. If you don't clean out your sewer system, just ask Elvis Presley. He died from severe constipation. It didn't matter how much money he had in the bank. He couldn't get his bowels moving and he died on the toilet. So you don't want to go on the toilet. That's the last place you want to go. Because when the paramedics come, it's going to be not that you care because you're already gone, but you know what I mean. But anyway, so in intestinal bacteria coefficient, we want to clean out all of the harmful bacteria. We want a clean house. And then you want to start repopulating because inside of the superfood, which is called the regenerator, we have probiotics, we have fiber, we have prebiotics, which feeds the probiotics, you get it? And we have the nutrition. It took me years to try to figure out what does the body really need to begin the healing process. And so these were carefully thought out through hundreds and hundreds of scans, through hundreds and thousands of clients and situations. So my experience is what it is, but based upon my experience, I know what needs to happen in a person's body to get them back into balance. Intraluminal pressure is the last one on here. That's going to be either normal or to the right. Normal or to the right is exactly what it says. Intraluminal pressure. So obviously it's going to be an increase in pressure. What's causing the pressure? Probably the undigested protein. Because if you have blockage in your system, and if you look at the top three that are to the left, they justify the intraluminal pressure in your system. So that's what we need to do. Because if there's any blockage in your gut, all of your organs are going to hold on to their waste. Remember, every cell in your body is having a bowel movement. So if the plumbing is not clear, and you know how when you flush that toilet and now water is all over the place, that's what's happening in your body. If the plumbing is not clear, all that waste gets backed up into your cells. The cells can't breathe with all that toxic waste and they're going to die. Oh, wait, before they die, they're going to try to salvage your life. They're going to try to do something to save you until you clean up the toxic condition. You know what they're going to do? They're going to mutate. The cells are going to mutate to save your life. What am I saying? I'm saying that cancer is a blessing. You think it's a curse. You think it's a threat. It's not. If the cells couldn't mutate, they would die faster. The cancer cells are buying you some time until you clean up your sewer system. If you never clean up your sewer system, then yeah, all the cells are going to mutate and it's going to look like a person died from cancer. But that's not true. That's an illusion. They're not dying from cancer. They're dying from the toxic waste that was not cleaned up, that's suffocating the cells and is causing the cells to mutate for the sake of trying to save your life. Next slide. Liver. So liver, first one is protein metabolism. Protein metabolism, that's going to be either normal or to the left. And we kind of talked about protein metabolism. And it's important to understand that when your body breaks down the protein and you got the amino acids, then protein metabolism is about also synthesizing protein in order to rebuild or repair any part of the body. But if the liver is dealing with any type of impairment, that could affect protein metabolism. Next one is energy production. It's important that you know that energy production can be either normal or to the left. Detoxification function can be either normal or to the left. All of these are the functions of the liver. Energy is important, and the detoxification part is important because your liver is a filter. So what does a filter do? It detoxifies your blood. It cleans your blood. You see where I'm going with this? So anytime I help reverse heart disease, it was because I first understood that the liver was at a fatty state. When the liver is at a fatty state, that means it's clogged. That means it's not able to function and perform the detoxification, produce the energy, and metabolize the protein as well. So therefore, you're gonna be backed up. It's not gonna, it's the one thing that allows your blood to be polluted. If your blood is polluted, plaque builds up on the walls. Once you clean the liver, it starts cleaning the blood. And guess what we do? We dissolve the plaque in your arteries because the liver is now functioning the way it's supposed to function. That's how we dissolve the plaque without having to do open heart surgery. That's easy. If we knew that in the medical world, you wouldn't have so many fatalities. We're up to 700,000. You don't get this. 700,000 people are dying from heart disease when we can reverse that within 3 weeks. And I'll give it 30 days. We can reverse it within a month. But 700,000 people die. This is why we need more coaches. This is why we need more people willing and ready to come in and assist in eradicating that, because in that 7,000 could be our brother, our sister, our cousin. It can be anyone in our family, our mother, who don't have access to a holistic approach to addressing their issues. We got to stop dying like this. It's just not necessary anymore. I don't care who's trying to get rich off of it. No, put your life on the line. If your family is going down because of this condition, then that means you go down as well at some point. So think about the others. Bile secretion is either going to be normal or to the left. Bile is produced by the liver, and bile is a substance that breaks down fat. Now, we need fat broken down sometimes because your body burns fat as fuel. But emotions interfere with gland activity, emotions, negative emotions, and they cause your body to burn, to store fat instead of burning it as fuel. So many of us are storing fat when we should be burning fat. So that's where intermittent fasting comes in. This is where the cleanse comes in, because the cleanse is a fast. It's a detoxification process. It's also a cleansing process, but it helps to burn the fat and also to remove the waste. Fatty liver is going to be either normal or to the right. If you have a moderate or severe fatty liver combined with plaque buildup on your heart, you need to be detoxing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You need to detox if you want the best quality of life. And I'm not even saying you got to detox with us, but I'm saying you need to detox, because in order to reverse the plaque buildup, you got to flush the liver. And this is a part where many of our women that are dealing with fibroids, one of the root causes is a fatty liver. A root cause of fatty liver, because estrogen, because women that are dealing with fibroids have what's called estrogen dominance. Anytime there's excessive estrogen in the system, the liver is designed to break it down. In fact, it breaks it down into two parts. It's a two-part process breaking down estrogen. But if you have a fatty liver, you're not able to break it down. So what does that mean? That means that your body has to do something once again to try to save your life. It takes that excessive waste matter and it encapsulates it into a fibroid, and it puts it somewhere where it can grow as long as it needs to until you address the underlying issue, which is the fatty liver and the toxic body. The fibroid is not your enemy. Cancer tumor is not your enemy. Microbes and viruses, they're really not our enemies. Everything that we've been taught to turn against and to fear is really designed by God to assist in repairing and healing a self-regulated organism, which is us. We're self-regulating. It's just a matter of how long it takes for that to happen. Next slide. Bear with us, y'all. We're almost done. We're almost done. Kidneys. How does your kidney report look? Urobilly, uric acid, blood urea nitrogen are all waste products. These are waste products that are filtered out by your kidneys and comes out through the urine. These items are either going to be green or to the right. If they're to the right, that means that these waste products are increasing inside of your system, which means your kidneys are not filtering as effectively as you need them to be. So this is an indication that the kidneys need to be what? Flushed. We got to flush the kidneys, just like if you got a fatty liver, we need to flush the liver. Remember, these are two main filters in your body. So it's very important that these kidneys and liver are functioning properly in order to keep the blood clean and to prevent the plaque buildup and to prevent the blood from being polluted. Well, we've been able to detect kidney failure using this report, because anytime you're looking at yellow or red in the kidney area, you're moving towards kidney failure. And If you look down at the last one, proteinuria, that's exactly what it says. Protein in the urine. Protein in the urine. Well, why is there protein in the urine? Well, we know now, because if you go back up to gastrointestinal tract, if you're not breaking down the protein, if you've depleted your pepsin, if your peristaltic action isn't moving too well, then a lot of that protein is undigested. And guess what that's going to do to your kidneys? It's going to mess up the kidney lining, which is called the glycocalyx lining. When you mess up that glycocalyx lining around the kidneys that protect the kidneys, then now larger molecules of protein can seep into the kidneys and start messing up the filtration system. Now the kidneys aren't filtering as much. Your filtration rate is now going down because you're not filtering. Your creatinine levels are going up, which is another waste product. And now you need dialysis. You see? So if we can see that before you need dialysis, then we can begin to create a regimen to reverse this process and you never have to do dialysis. In fact, I've helped people. In fact, let me say this. I helped a medical doctor off dialysis because we understood what was going on in her kidneys and in her liver. So it wasn't just about what was going on in the kidneys. It was also what was going on in her liver. If the liver was toxic, it puts a burden on the kidneys. If the kidneys are toxic, it puts a burden on the liver. You can't just do a liver flush and that's it. No, you have to do a full body flush. This isn't about compartmentalizing the body like the hospital do. You don't have a kidney department in holistic health or a cardiology department in holistic health. No, I got to specialize in cardiology. I got to specialize in kidney. I have to specialize in uh, your lymphatic system, your endocrine system. I have to know all of it, not just part of it. It's not about special. I specialize in the whole body, and not even the whole body, but even your mental and emotional body, and even your spiritual body. All of these are a part of your same body because guess what? Disease do not begin in your body. It begins in your spirit, in that energetic field, which trickles down through the mind, and then the mind brings it into the body. So if I'm just dealing with the body, which is the way the medical system tends to do, because they're built upon Newtonian physics, then I'm not going to really know why the body is doing what it's doing. And it's not the doctor's fault. That's just how they taught with the information that they had. We have more information now, so we can go and we can be a little bit more thorough and a little bit more proactive. Okay. So if you got protein in your urine, it's a good chance you're not breaking down your protein as much anymore, and you need to flush and detox your body. Next slide and last slide. You still there, Roz? Did I lose you? You probably went to the restroom. So are we waiting on her to change the slide? We're going to go into the last one, which is based upon your pH. There she go. She woke up. Is your body acidic? Ask yourself right now. Nobody has to hear you. Ask yourself, is your body acidic? Are you looking at a red when it comes to the pH at the bottom? Are you looking at a red when it comes to the pH at the bottom? If your pH is to the left, that means that your body is in an acidic state. So this item is going to be either, excuse me, your pH, and I'm going to start from the bottom and go up because the pH is important. When you're in the green, your body is neutral to alkaline. When you're in the green, your body is neutral to alkaline. When you go to the left, that means that you're moving into the acidic range. When your body is acidic, that facilitates just about all diseases out there. It's been proven that disease cannot survive in an alkaline body. You're starting to learn this, but it thrives. It thrives in an acidic body. It thrives in that body. Why? Because the more acidic your body is, the more oxygen deprived your tissue is. Remember, if the cells can't get oxygen, they malfunction. And cellular malfunction is the cause of all diseases. Cellular malfunction, because that's all you are. You're cells. You're also microorganisms, but for the most part, you're cells. So if the cells stop functioning, if they start malfunctioning because they're not getting any oxygen, then that's going to lead to dis-ease. So if your body is showing a acidic pH, that's an indication that it's time to detoxify your system, because the detox program is about alkalizing your body. We want to take you from acidic to alkaline, just like that Duracell battery, right? When you first buy that battery, it's an alkaline battery. But at the end of the battery's life, it's an acidic battery, it's a dead battery. Human beings are like batteries. We have a negative pole at the bottom of our foot going from the ground up, and we have a positive pole towards our head. So we actually have the same plus and minus poles as a battery. And so just like a battery, when we're born into this world, we're born into this world as an alkaline baby coming out of an alkaline amniotic fluid. And we start off as alkaline. So we're a brand new battery coming into this world until we are imposed upon by our parents. We're imposed upon by their bad habits. We're imposed upon by society. In other words, they start using up your energy from the time that from the time you start in this world until your mother's no longer able to protect you. So that's why it's important to get back to your alkalinity, become a rechargeable battery. And then you will notice, if we go up one, hypoxia. Hypoxia stands for a lack of oxygen, basically. So this is either going to be green or to the left. A lack of oxygen definitely makes for an acidic case. Anytime there's a lack of oxygen, but you can be acidic and still show a green when it comes to hypoxia. Water shortage. Are you dehydrated? Are you drinking enough water? You know, your body's anywhere from 60 to 70% water as it is. So if you're not keeping yourself hydrated, then the cells need that water medium. If they're not getting that water medium, then they're going to dry up and they're going to die, and they're going to become acidic as well. So you want to make sure you're hydrated. You should be drinking every day. Outside of a cleanse, you should be drinking half your body weight in ounces. So I'm about 180 pounds. So I should be doing about 90 ounces of water a day. I probably do more than that when I'm definitely, because I'm training and I'm working out. So that's why I like to work out, because I'm going to be honest with you. If I wasn't exercising, if I wasn't working out, I probably wouldn't be drinking as much water. So you have to do things in your life that's going to help you to stay healthy. You know, if you don't work out a lot and you want to work out, find you a sport, find you something you can compete in on an annual basis that will cause you to have to focus on your health and your fitness. You know, like a 5K or a Chicago Marathon or an Ironman or track and field or volleyball or any type. It can be field hockey, it can be tennis, it can be ping pong, whatever it is. Find something that you love doing actively and compete in it. You know, healthy competition goes a long way. Now we're in the mental power and responsibility. So as you can see, these two are going to be either green or to the left, green or to the left. Now, when it comes down to mental power, and I'm going to talk about these together because these are important. When you're in a place where you're constantly reacting instead of proacting, when you react instead of proact, you throw your body into an acidic state because you throw your body into a fight or flight. If you do this over and over again, you're going to start to weaken your ability to respond. You're going to weaken your ability to respond properly. And it's because of the fact that you're reacting over and over again. Just like with the immune system, if you use the immune system over and over, pretty soon you start to wear it down. It's for this reason that we do blood types. Because if you don't know your blood type and you've been eating all your life foods that you should have been avoiding, then you basically have been eating in the dark. So what have you been doing? You've been overworking your immune system to the point where it becomes hyperactive or overreactive. but yet it's not going to respond properly because you've been wearing it down. So when a virus like the coronavirus shows up as it did in 2020, and all the people who didn't know their blood type, wasn't eating according to their blood type, inundated with toxins with an acidic body, guess what happened? Their body was so haywire that when it showed up, it caused what's called a cytokine storm. The cytokine storm, a cytokine is an immune cell response. Cytokines coordinate the response of the immune system, but a cytokine storm, is a hyperinflated response that attacks the lung tissue. So what was happening in 2020 is not, the virus was not killing people no more than a bee sting kills people. The virus was triggering an anaphylactic shock, causing the immune system to turn on its host. That's why people had to be put on ventilators, because it was your immune system that was attacking you, not the virus. Just like a bee sting, if a person gets stung by a bee and they're allergic to the bee sting, they have a hyperinflated response and they need what? An EpiPen to keep from dying. Well, that's why it's important to know your blood type, because you want to know what foods are compatible and what foods are incompatible with your chemistry. Because if you've been eating in the dark all this time, what you don't know is that if you're blood type B, poultry, chicken is considered poison to your blood type. If you're blood type A, then you thrive on a vegetarian diet, and eating meat is going to bring you degenerative diseases much sooner than later. If you don't know this stuff, then you're out there in the dark wondering, how is this stuff happening to me? I have no idea because I have no knowledge and understanding. So this is what we want to give you, knowledge and understanding of how to be more responsible. And mental power has a lot to do with, if you find yourself in a negative emotional state, you find yourself in depression, anxiety, it decreases your mental power. And it also makes your body more acidic. So that's why this category is so important when it comes to responsibility, ability to respond, your mental power. And for some reason, sometimes mental power is an indication of how much coaching we may need to do on our part in order to make sure you get through this thing. So when we see that you have a decrease in mental power, we might have to call you twice a day until you get through this part. Water shortage, no, don't worry, you're going to get real hydrated during the cleanse. Hypoxia, you're definitely going to get some oxygen in your system because you're getting rid of the acid. When you get rid of the acid, there's going to be more oxygen available to your tissues. And then your pH will go from acidic back to normal, which is alkaline. Your blood should stay between 7.35 to 7.45. If it drops below that, guess what's going to happen? Your body's going to leach calcium and potassium and sodium. Your body's going to leach these to try to raise your pH back up to alkaline or neutral out of the acidic range. So if your body is chronically acidic and you don't know it, then there's a good chance you're developing osteoporosis and don't even know it. Osteoporosis doesn't come with age, it comes with toxicity. The more toxic your body is, the more acidic your body is, the more calcium your body's going to pull out. If you want to reverse osteoporosis, if you want to reverse bone density degeneration, if you want to reverse this and start getting your bone health back, getting your bone structure back, getting your strength of your bone back, you have to plug the hole in the boat before you bail the water out. It doesn't make sense bailing the water out and you got a hole in the boat. Plug the hole in the boat, which means go from acid to alkaline, then start bailing the water out, and now you will float just like you did before. So we can open the door to questions. This is the end of the report. How are we looking out there?
I have a question, Dr. Prince.
Yes. Who is
you mentioned
this?
bananas. This is Cherie.
Okay.
The bananas have everything in it. Bananas against my blood type. And I have been eating bananas every day. So now I know what was going on. One of the things that was going on. But you said it was some other fruits too, that you could get everything.
Well, what's going to be important is that you want to get Thank you, Carla. You wanna get an idea of your food list. You want a blood type food list based upon your chemistry. You want to know which foods are beneficial, which foods are neutral, and which foods are considered poison.
Okay,
So in
I'm
a
using
sense,
the eat for your blood type. I'm
right.
going into that.
And let me say this also, you guys. Our campaign, which is dear to me, our campaign is plant-based for your blood type. The reason I say that is because a lot of blood types are going to say, well, blood type O, every blood type will show you maybe some beneficial meats. Now, what that means is that doesn't mean that meat is good for you. It means that you have the ability to consume certain meats more so than the other blood types. But it doesn't mean that you're going to escape heart disease or cancer because you're blood type O and you can eat certain meats. It just means that if the husband is O and the wife is A, and the wife is eating like the husband, then she's going to get fat faster than him. That's what that means. That's all that means. She's going to become sick before him. His immune system is going to be a little bit stronger because he's blood type O, she's blood type A. She should be doing fruits and vegetables more than him because she's thriving on a vegetarian diet. A's went back to agriculture. Blood type O's had to adjust and adapt because they were the hunters and the gatherers. So their bodies had adapted to the consumption of animal protein. But when a group of people left the hunter and gatherer sect and they went back to agriculture, their bodies lost the adaptation for eating meat and they became more vegetarian-like. So that's why it's important to know your blood type so you can understand the characteristics in which you share with a lot of other human beings that may not even be your color. We're more closely related to each other based upon our blood type than we are based upon the color of our skin. Okay?
Dr. Prince, Daryl Williams.
Yes. Hey, Daryl, how's it going?
Great. I love this. This is very enlightening, super enlightening, life-changing information. Can you send me a copy? Because I want to listen to it over again.
Right, and I would recommend that everyone listens to it over at least once because this information is important. Even people that are interested in becoming wellness coaches, this is important information because this bioscan at some point will be in every city, not just every major city, but every city. So that way anyone can go anywhere, get the scan done, and you can detect things much early before a crisis shows up. Everyone has a right to know what's going on in their body so that they can make the changes. What God is saying is that now we've reached the limit of degeneration and disease. Now it's time to turn around. But in order to turn around, you must be given the right information in order for you to become more convicted that it's time for you to turn around. And I'm gonna tell you, once a person sees their scan, they're convicted. They're like, okay, I suspected something was going on, but I'm feeling good. But now what the scan is showing me is that there is something progressing that may show up at the least moment that I expected. And you don't want that to happen because you can be on the stage. Like for instance, one of my Kumo D, he wound up having a stroke while he was on the stage performing. What kind of damage does that do to even his performance if he's having a stroke on the stage while he's trying to perform? So it's things like that, and not to say that any time is a good time to have a stroke. No, there's not. There's never a good time. But the bottom line is that you don't want to be driving and then all of a sudden the stroke happens.
Right.
Or the heart attack happens because what you may lose your life, but you may take some lives with you, and you never want that on us. So let's be more proactive now and learn this information. But Dr. Roz, if you could find a way to interact with Daryl so he can get a copy of it, then that'll be great.
I get a copy for him. This is Gigi. I get a copy for him. I did a scan Sunday.
Great. Okay, great.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're
Hello.
welcome, Daryl. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Tracy. Can you hear me?
Hear you loud and clear.
Oh, great. I'm interested in getting a copy of tonight's Zoom as well. And I was on last week. I wanted to know if I could get a copy of that one as well.
Okay, you wanna get real educated, huh? You wanna
Absolutely.
hey, nothing wrong with that. Who brought you in, or who you up under, or who you working? Whose team you with?
Well, I'm not on a team officially right now, but I attended
Yeah,
an
okay,
event that was in Atlanta
got it.
maybe a
Okay,
week
out the
ago
All
or two.
Black National Convention.
No, not
Got it.
that.
Okay,
I
so
was
Fred
at
is
a
not
No, I
that
was
one.
at something on a Sunday, I believe, in East
Got it. You
Point.
know what? No, I know exactly what it is.
Dr. Prince, Dr.
It was
Prince,
another event. I was yes,
this is Terry. I invited
yes.
Tracy to the event. Tracy is a friend of mine from years ago. This is Terry Anderson.
That's right, Terry
Okay,
Anderson.
so Terry is gonna make sure you get a copy of it so that you can study it, okay? And we want
Thank you.
you to be a part of the team, because if you studying like that, then yeah, you need to be a part of the team. And you have to understand, we have over we have close to 400 coaches across the country, but we need about 400,000 to be honest with you. So this campaign is over the next 10 to 20 years. So the goal is that once we reach that point where we are actually looking at thousands of coaches, then guess what? The numbers for heart disease, cancer, diabetes are starting to decline because we're addressing it the way a society should be addressing it. Okay. Next question.
Dr. Prince, this is Rochelle from Indianapolis. Be happy to see you
Hey,
this weekend in a few days.
yes,
I got a
yes,
question.
I'm coming.
This, yes, yes. This bioscan to me is just incredible because for many, many years I was I ate really healthy, but the one thing I did do, and I was told you always eat so good, but you put poison in your body. For over 30 years, I was using fake sugars. And
Mm,
because when I was in school, it said, well, you could never use it enough to where it hurt you in a lifetime. Well, when I did my bioscan, it was red. And I was like, what?
mm,
I was really shocked, but it just goes to show you all the chemicals and all the crap because our liver is supposed to, is helps to I mean, it's everything goes through the liver. And all those years, over 30 some years of using fake sugars and, not stevia, but I started with the Equal, that I found out that was terrible, but I still did the pink and the yellow Splenda for a long, long, long time. I put it
right.
on everything. And and now I'm trying to get my liver back to it's yellow now. I'm on a 7 day
Mhm.
right now. And just, and trying to, get my because I made a call with Dr. Betty today or yesterday, and I said, I was trying to get my hormones back in balance. She said, this will do it. You just have to be patient. And
Right,
so
right.
that's why I'm constantly doing, I'm a detox, reset. I call it like a reset every few months, every couple of months, 2 or 3 months, whether it's 7 or 21, until my body gets back to that normal period where it's healthy again.
Right. And that's important to know too, is that this is not a one and done process. This is an
Mhm.
ongoing process. I'm healthy, but I cleanse at least once or twice a year because I want to stay healthy. If you find a process that will get you back to your prime, then you want to keep that process in your life and do it as often as possible, because you have to understand that it took us years to get into this toxic state. It's going to take more than 3 weeks to get you fully out of it. But I guarantee you, after that 3 week process, you will definitely start feeling that wellness coming back. You'll feel that sublime state. You'll feel that good feeling. And it'll be just enough to give you enough faith to say, you know what? This is my way back home. This is my way
Mhm.
back to who I used to be when I was in my
Right.
20s, when I was in my prime, in my heyday. Well, I did that. I went back to my prime. I went back to my heyday. I, I bear witness that you can reverse your biological age. come January, I will be competing on the college circuit in the 400 meters and the 200 meters. I'm 54 years of age, or shall I say 54 years young. That means my competitors are now 30 years or more younger than me. I'm chronologically older than them, but biologically, we're on the same playing field. So it doesn't matter how many times the Earth circles the sun anymore. I'm no longer connected to chronological time because of this process. And the bioscan saved my life in 2011. So my testimony with the bioscan was that I had just finished a race at Western Illinois University. So I was back running college track and field. I've been vegan since 2004. So by the time 2011 showed up, I felt like I was okay. I was very proud of where I was, but I was humbled because after I finished that race, I was starting to have chest pressure, not chest pain, but chest pressure. And I wasn't sure what that was because I had no reason to suspect that I was developing heart disease. Sure enough, I said, you know what? That was the first time I did my scan. When I did my scan, I had 4 items in the yellow in my heart, and I had 3 items in the yellow, 4 items in the blue. No matter what it was, but just know that my heart was not normal. And what was most important is that one of them that was in the yellow was coronary artery elasticity. Coronary artery elasticity. That was my chest pressure. My chest pressure had to do with the plaque buildup that was on my coronary arteries. If I had not done my own scan, instead of winning the world championship in 2011, I would have dropped dead. So I bear witness that scan will save your life as it saved my life. And it was important because my grandmother passed from a heart attack in 1979. So that means I was predisposed to it. So even though I was vegan, even though I was back running track and field, I was still moving towards a heart attack and I didn't understand it. And let me explain this. This is important for you guys to understand. The scan hacks the subconscious program that's running in your mind, the program for heart disease, the program for cancer, the program for diabetes, the program for MS. It's a program running in our mind because it's in our bloodline. So it's deep within our subconscious. The bioscan helps to hack that program, change the program, and take you off that program. Until now, we didn't have the ability to do that. So in a sense, we were bound by what was in our family, but now we're able to disconnect from that program, change the program, rewire your brain. And not only that, but rewire and rewrite your DNA. And that's a powerful testimony right there. So now you okay? I'll see you in Indianapolis. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have one more question. The amount of time that you can do a 21, is that how many times a year? Can you do it 4 times a year? And
yeah, you can do it. You can do it quarterly. Yes.
You can do it. Okay. And is there a way to do a test to see what your chronicle age? What's inside you, like what's your cells? Yeah. Is there a way, a test that you can do to really see where you're at?
They do have.
I know
a test.
They have them, but I know
I forgot the name of it, but they do have a test. One of the ways the bioscan can show you is that if you've only done one scan, then you'll notice that everything is where it is, but you don't know which way it's going. A lot of times if you've done your first scan, everything is pretty much moving outward towards severe. But after you've done a cleanse and you scan anywhere from 3 to 4 months after that, and let me say this too also, because I got into a little discrepancy with someone, because you don't want to scan right after you cleanse. You do not want to scan right after you cleanse because it takes your body a while to reset itself. Remember, during the cleanse, your blood is still polluted. It gets dirtier during the cleanse because all the toxins are trying to come out and back to your system. So you may have some labs that may be off. Like if you do your blood work right after the cleanse, it may not look all that great. In fact, it might even look scary because your blood is still balancing itself off. You just came out of a detox. You may be done with the cleanse, but your body is still detoxing. your body detoxes over years. It took me 6 years to get meat out my system. That means I was detoxing meat out my body for 6 years, even though every now and again I'll do a cleanse. The cleanse is like a fast track. The cleanse is to keep your body from decompensating and throwing you into a purification process itself. That's what the cleanse is all about. Let me say that again. The cleanse is designed to keep you going through the purification process, but without letting your body to decompensate and throw you into a purification process itself. When it does that, it may take much longer than 3 weeks for the body to resolve its own issues. That's the reason why we go to the medical doctor to get relief. We're actually getting relief from the body trying to purify itself. You understand? We're trying to get relief from the body trying to purify itself. All signs and symptoms are purification symptoms. I don't care what they are, headache, nausea, vomit, all of them are purification symptoms. But here's the thing, who can endure for weeks while the body corrects its own issues? You don't know how long it's going to take. So as you're doing the 3-week process, you're gradually removing some of the stored waste that you've accumulated over the years from your body so that you will move further away from degeneration, further away from death, further away from crisis, and back to your youth. So green, your goal is to get back in green. When you get back in green, you don't need to take any more tests because you are back in your youth. You're back in the same state that you were when you was in your 20s. And that's why I started competing in track and field. And I won the world championship that year in 2011 because it took me 8 months from the time that I saw my first scan to get everything back in green, normal range in my heart. Everything in my heart was just straight down green from the top all the way down to the bottom. I won the world championship. In fact, I got back to times that I hadn't run since college. The reason I do this is because I want to bear witness to you that you can reverse your age and you can live a long, healthy life way past 120. Okay? Next question. Any more questions out there? Mike, are you out there? You still out there, Mike? Michael Burns.
Yes, sir.
Michael
Yes,
Burns.
sir.
So you guys, Michael Burns is he's one of my star coaches along with Sharon, because they've been with me for a few years now before I met up with, the Akana wonderful organization. And then I went on to train people like Dr. Roz, and Gigi Harris from Dallas. And, we've been doing a great work throughout the country. It was powerful when I went down to Dallas.
Push
Huh?
something off on the floor when you push that.
Uh-oh, I hear somebody in the back. Hey, get your granddad some cover, okay? So, no, what I'm saying is that we've done some great work around the country. Wherever I need to go, I will go. If I have to go to Arizona, if I have to go to LA, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna go because we're saving lives. We're literally saving lives. This isn't just some fad or some trend. We're reversing disease every time. We're healing bodies. We're taking people off their deathbeds. This is the health revolution. This is not going to stop until all of those numbers, those degenerative diseases, until they just start all coming down. Let me say this. Let me give you this vision. At some point, you're going to start to hear about hospitals closing up because people aren't going to be going there as much. People aren't going to be taking medication. People aren't going to be having surgeries. People aren't going to be having emergencies like we do now. There's going to be a day where we're going to all be proactive. We're going to all be in a state called disease prevention. We're going to all be going plant-based or majority plant-based with our diets. And we're going to be teaching it to our children. And that's how the new earth and a new heaven comes into play. Because in the end, the wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and there will be no hurt or harm in all of God's holy mountain, said the Lord. Okay. Next question.
Hello, my name is John. I'm from Dallas.
My blood
Hey.
type is B negative. What meat should I be avoiding?
Oh man. So who invited you to the call?
Z Carter.
Okay. So what Z Carter's gonna do? She's gonna give me. Is it a he or a she?
She.
Carter.
She.
Z. Okay. So what you need is you need a blood type food list. So we're not gonna be able to go over that right now, but you need a blood type food list sent to you. Have you done a cleanse
Already
yet?
got it, baby.
No.
Okay, so your first step, don't worry about your blood types. Do the cleanse first. You need to do the cleanse because once you do the cleanse, you're gonna resensitize your body. When you resensitize your body, that's when the blood type food plan is gonna come in because now you'll be able to investigate which foods are beneficial, which foods are detrimental, which foods you're reacting negatively to, and which foods you're reacting positively to. See, you can't really know that now because our body has adapted to all the poisons. So the fact that it has adapted to all the poisons, we eat all the food that we eat now. We don't know what's harming us. We don't know what's hurting us. But I'll give you an example. My mom, she's 81. I've been cleansing her for several years, and she finally lost her sugar addiction. But one day, she was with her girlfriend, and her girlfriend was cooking some good smoked smothered chicken. You know that stuff that that smells all the way out the house. Well, she got tempted. So my mom was a pescatarian. She wasn't doing any more beef, pork, chicken, turkey, ham. She wasn't doing any more of that stuff. But this day, she decided she wanted to consume some chicken. Well, it seemed harmless. But the next day, she was the only one that wound up in the ER. She was sick from eating the same food that everybody ate the day prior. Nobody else had to go to the ER. You know why? Because they were all adapted to the poison. Her body rejected it and sent her right to the emergency room. They ran tests after tests. Guess what they found? Nothing. Because there was nothing wrong with her. Her body rejected because she had gotten it out of her system and her body was now in a more vital state. So that's why I say your first stage for all of you guys is to detoxify your body, find out your blood type, and reset your immune system and your digestive system, and you'll live a long life thereafter. Okay.
Dr. Prince, I have a question. It's Carol from Fort Worth, Texas.
Hey, Carol.
Hi.
Carol, Carol who?
Sidnor, we talked earlier today.
Sidnor. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How you feeling? Carol?
I'm glad I got on here. My question was, how long after the detox should you do a scan again?
I would say anywhere from 3 to 4 months afterwards. That's a good time. If you do it 60, you may see some results, but it's best if you wait about 3 months after you finish the cleanse so that you can really see where the body is. Because by that time, you started putting probiotics back in your system. You started taking digestive enzyme. You started eating a certain way. So now your blood is starting to get rid of some of the residual from the cleanse. Now you're going to have some accurate numbers. Now you can look at the present scan compared to the previous scan, and guess what you're going to see? You're going to see that you're no longer degenerating outward towards severe. Now you are regenerating back towards green. And that's the goal for everyone, is to get back to the green, whatever it takes. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Prince, this is Angie Dickerson from Boston. How are you? I have a question for you.
Hey, Angie, I see.
When you talked about the virus, we have a gentleman who I believe is a blood type O, close to 70 years old, went out of the country or was out of state and ate a salad and caught the norovirus. Had it for a year. and have been having diarrhea. So every time he eat food, he goes to the bathroom.
Mm.
He just had a second procedure where they went in and put something in his stomach to pump some medicine in to kind of get the virus out. So if he was to do the cleanse, I doubt he would do anything with lettuce because he probably is traumatized from eating lettuce.
Right, right.
So I sent you a copy of his report and I was looking for some guidance.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I'll take a look at his report. Eventually, I do want to talk to him and get an idea of everything that's going on, because remember, even though he might have that virus from what he ate, we need to find out what else is going on in his body, because nobody gets to that point and is in a perfect health condition. Because in a perfect health condition, he wouldn't be dealing with that virus, because the immune system is designed to destroy just about anything, even a coronavirus. I've had clients who went through the pandemic with flying colors, even though they had contracted the virus, but they didn't know they had the virus because their immune system destroyed it just like that, even though it was man-made. So anytime there's a condition like that, you got to question what else is going on in the person's health, in their body, what's also going on with their emotions. That's why we address everything. We don't just look at the numbers. We look at the person, we talk to the person, we find out what's eating at them, because it's not always what you're eating that makes you sick. Sometimes it's what's eating at you. So we always want to get all of the basics, because this isn't a medical practice or procedure. This is a holistic approach. So we use the scan. The scan represents a percentage of what's going on, but then we need to understand what's going on in that person's life, what's going on in that person's relationship, in their family, in their job. Do they feel inadequate? Did they get molested when they was younger? There's so many things that play into the imbalance that can lead to the susceptibility to a virus such as that one. Okay, but I'll check it out.
Okay, thank you so much. Wow.
Dr. Prince, this is B. Foster from Maryland.
Hey, B, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I have a question from a client. How
Yes.
often can you do a 7-day cleanse? You covered the 21 day. How often can you do a 7-day cleanse?
Well, I would first recommend two things. I would recommend that a person does a 21-day before they start doing the 7-day. A person that does a 7-day is probably a little afraid of the 21-day. That's why they do the 7-day. But most everyone, by the time they turn 40, needs the 21-day. The 7-day is not long enough. In fact, the 7-day may be detrimental, because if you're dealing with a lot of toxicity and you cleanse for 7 days, your body will not stop detoxing after that 7 days. And we have people now that are having Herxheimer detoxification reactions after that 7-day period. They stop cleansing, but they're having reactions because those are detoxification reactions. That means that the process was just starting to work well, and then you cut it off. So you want to start with the 21-day, get your body cleaned out, and then you can do as I do. Every 2 months, I'll do a raw week. A raw week, a 7-day, which is a 7 days. So you do a raw week every 2 months. And if you do that every 2 months, then you're looking at six raw weeks throughout the year, which is basically 2 3-week cleanses a year. So now we go back to 2 cleanses every year. You can break that up in 3, but let me say this: the 7-day does not take the place of the 3-week. But if you're doing a 3-week cleanse, then every 2 months after that, you can do a 7-day raw week. And then you go back at some point to the 3-week cleanse again. Remember, every year, what you're doing is you're trying to get more and more stored waste, more and more stored toxins out your system. This is an ongoing process until you get back to the point where your metabolism is sharp. It's processing the oxygen, it's throwing off the toxins, it's getting the tissue to the cells, the heart is functioning properly, no plaque on the coronary arteries, no plaque on the cerebral blood vessel arteries, no clogged kidneys, no clogged liver, you're literally in a point where you can do whatever you want because now you have the vitality to do it. And so that's what the cleansing process is about. Because let me say something, at some point, you're going to begin to climb the ladder of evolution. Where are you going? I don't even want to talk about that right now, but that is another story that we're going to talk about, because we are going somewhere. There is somewhere we're going, and it's a wonderful place, but we got to first start at the bottom and work our way up. Okay. But yeah, every couple of months, hey, do a raw week after that 21-day cleanse.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if you guys can chime in and ask your question, because I'm gonna be honest, I can't read that fast. When that thing come up, I be trying to read it pretty fast, but I can't read it that fast. Not that I can't read, you know I can read, but I just can't read that fast. I'm sure because I have to flip the phone and go to the question. So if you ask a question and you type it in, unmute yourself and ask that question because I want to hear your voice, okay? Don't be scared. Unmute and ask your question.
Hi, Dr. Prince.
What's your name?
My name is Dr. Gloria Moore.
Hey, Gloria, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I just have a question. I just wanted to know, is it safe for a heart transplant patient or an organ transplant patient to complete a 21-day cleanse?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a great question. I have successfully detoxed an organ transplant patient. But you got to understand too that organ still has to be detoxed as well. They're going to be taking probably immunosuppressant drugs all their life. But remember, the immunosuppressant drugs are toxic as well. So they got an organ for the preservation of their life, and they have to take medication. It makes sense that even though they have to take medication, they don't still have to allow their toxic levels to climb, because what happened with my mother's husband is that he wound up getting, of course, a new kidney, but he never changed anything about his lifestyle, and he died in his sleep. So it's not enough to get an organ and not take care of that organ. That organ needs to be flushed out just as much as your own organs need to be flushed out. The medicine is still going to do what it needs to do, but at least now you're balancing the toxic effects of the immunosuppressant medicine. At least balance it. It may never go real low because they don't want it low because they don't want the body rejecting that organ, but it doesn't have to be high. You know that if a person gets an organ transplant and they're taking these medications, if they don't change their lifestyle, if they don't change their diet, then yeah, even that organ is going to fail. So no, I definitely recommend that they can safely move through that. But if anyone has anyone that's dealing with that type of situation, you definitely want to bring me into that situation. You don't want to try to tackle that on your own. And for all the coaches, if you're dealing with a degenerative condition, a serious condition, do not try to tackle it without me. You're not experienced yet to do that. You need a level of experience. Remember, even in the Bible, when Jesus he sent the disciples out to deal with this girl who was possessed, and they went out to try to cast that demon up out of her, but they couldn't. So they had to call him, and he was able to walk it right on up out of her. And he says sometimes things happen like that. It requires fasting and prayer. And after being in this a long time, you develop a certain type of spiritual field, or aura. You develop a certain type of consciousness. If you want to have a great experience when it comes to any condition, any health issue, make sure I'm a part of it so that we can reinforce that spiritual support and we can turn that situation around. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So when you said bring you into it, I've done a bioscan on him, so I can email you the scan. That's how we bring you in, or?
Yeah, because you sent me something already, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, I'm working on that already. I'm already working.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
didn't forget about you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I know I'm busy, but I ain't gonna forget about nobody. And trust me, like, you know, after working in emergency medicine for several years, I know how precious life is. So
Yes.
I take this to heart. I can't trust me. Yeah, I got to save 1,000 people by midnight. I know that, but I'm gonna save 1,000 people by midnight. I am gonna save 1,000. I may be worn out the next day, but I'm gonna save 1,000. So just all you guys, just be patient with me because there's not a lot of people doing what I'm doing. That's why I have to train coaches. Because if I don't train coaches, I would have been burnt out a long time ago. But we are moving towards bringing it into a classroom officially with the Napropath University. So we'll be training more wellness coaches in an actual university. And then at that point, I'm going to construct and create a naturopathic program so I can train more holistic doctors to deal with us as a culture. And that's going to be big too, because we got enough medical doctors. We need more holistic doctors.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Anybody else wrote something that they want to come out and ask? Rosalind, Dr. Roz, if you can read any more questions, let me know if they got any out there. If not, we're going to close it out.
I think we've covered it all. I think everybody began to ask their questions. I think that was the last one that was in the chat.
Hello.
And let me say, go ahead. What's your name?
My name is Andre Clayton. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. How you
Andre,
doing?
what's up? I'm doing great, man.
That's good. I have a couple of questions. So, I was in a vehicle accident in February of this year. At that particular time, I found out I had multiple tears in both of my shoulders, multiple partial tears in both of my shoulders, tendonitis in both my elbows, some bulging disc in my neck. And then I found out that I needed to get a hip replacement because of an old accident. And I guess it just got worse over time. So when they did the CAT scan of the hip, I have a whole lot of bone spurs and stuff. So my question is there any holistic way that I can heal or repair my tendons that I have the tears in my shoulders, or the bone spurs is in my hip, or I just need to go on and get it replaced and be done with it?
No, don't. Nobody needs to cut on. Everything you're dealing with has to take a holistic approach. Let's go back and review what you said. Let's start with the tears. Anytime you're dealing with certain tears in your body, especially tears, that means that you have
the video is breaking up.
Gain some vitamin and experiencing is weakening in certain parts. You hear me? Okay, hold on.
Dr. Prince.
Can you hear me now?
Back up and start again because you were breaking up.
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start with your body. Your body tries to make the partial food whole. And we eat a lot of partial food. We don't eat a lot of whole food. We eat a lot of processed food, meat and all that, but that's not whole food, which means what? It means your body has to strip minerals and vitamins from other places in your body in order to compensate for the impartial food. That means that it's pulling from your eyes, it's pulling from your organ systems, it's pulling from your genitals, it's pulling from your muscles, it's pulling from your bones. So in other words, the deficiencies that we experience throughout life, your body is pulling and robbing Peter to pay Paul. So that's where the weakness in the muscle, that's why a lot of athletes, when they have injuries, they don't realize they're dealing with a deficiency. If you don't eat properly, if you don't eat rich vitamins and mineral food, then you're probably getting deficient day by day. And the body's going to try to pull from somewhere in the body in order to try to complete and make that food whole. So that's where the muscle issue may be coming from. The bulging disc is also the same thing, because anytime your body becomes acidic, it starts also leaching calcium which is a very precious mineral in our body. Your body pulls calcium out of the bones because of your acidity. Well, where's the acidity coming from? It's coming from the animal protein you've been eating most of your life. Even if you became vegan 2 years ago or 3 years ago, the damage has already been done. You have bone degeneration and bone loss because of the acidic body. The body believes in life over limb. It'll save your life, but you'll lose a limb because it's going to pull that calcium out to try to raise your pH. So that causes a weakening in your bones, which causes that bones to start compressing and cause it to bulge because your bone is weak. It's trying to hold up that heavy frame from the food you're eating, but it's getting weaker and weaker because of the acidity in your body. And so once you start to correct your vitamin and mineral deficiency and you start to do some physical adjustments, whether it's a chiropractor or whether it's a naturopath, you can do certain adjustments in order to get your bone back into good health. You know, the bone spur, you know, bone cells die, bone cells grow. If you're doing something that's stimulating that bone spur, then there are certain things like that you're going to have to get out your diet. You know, if you're doing a lot of caffeine, that can also cater to some of that extra bone growth, and then other stimulating foods as well. But you want to detoxify your body because in order to start addressing these issues one by one, you have to understand that what was the other degenerative condition you said you had? Was it diabetes or high blood pressure?
Oh, no, nothing like that. It was just my hip, I had bone spurs in my hip. Yeah.
Right. So that's it. So that has a lot to do with your health as well. It's not enough. I would say give the cleanse and the holistic process a chance first. Give it a chance to start repairing and correcting you, to upregulate your genes towards health, and you stop regulating your genes down towards disease, then the bone spurts will take care of themselves. It'll go away, your bone will start to reform properly, and you'll mend a lot of those tears and you'll get your bone health back. So no, they don't have to cut on you for that. You just have to give the command to your body to heal itself, and you have to assist it in that process, okay?
Okay, can you tell me where I can purchase your product?
Who brought you in? Who brought you to this meeting?
I come with my wife, but I think she went to an event and she got scanned at the event.
Okay, so we just need to find out who told you about this call, because somebody had to have told you about this call. That's a part of the organization, because they're the ones that's going to be able to help you out. Dr. Ross, can you get his information and follow up with him so he can get going? And
yeah,
then
the event was at the Atlanta Black Convention, I think. Yes, the Atlanta Black.
All black national convention.
Yeah, yes, it was.
Okay. So yeah, I was there as well. So Fred and Anita, they'll be able to get you the information. So I think she might have been, Fred and Anita are the ones who scanned you. So have either you or your wife send out a call to Fred and Anita so that they can get you moving towards the cleanse. You guys want to cleanse together as a couple, so that because it also strengthens the relationship and it gets rid of past baggage from old relationships. I always recommend if you cleanse and you got a wife or you got a husband, hey, cleanse with them, because one thing we didn't do before we got married, we didn't get rid of the past baggage. So I'm not saying that the marriage is challenged right now, but what happened if you got rid of all that baggage from all the past, mental and emotional? How well would the relationship be now? How strong would it be right now? So get back in there. There's still time to get rid of baggage and to clean and detoxify your body, because your conditions may not be because of what's going on with you and your food. It may be because of what went on in the past that you still have not resolved. You know, the body is always catching signals from your thoughts or from the food. You know, our negative thinking can also weaken the body as well. So when you talk to Fred and Anita, have them to connect with me or send me your scans and your wife's scan if you did it with both of them, so that we can start moving you guys down the right path, okay? But if
I'm here,
Fred
Dr.
or
Prince. This
Thank
is
you, man. I
Anita.
appreciate it.
What was your name, sir,
Man,
and your
Anita?
wife's name?
Andre Clayton.
Andre Clayton, okay, and your wife is?
Janelle Clayton.
Okay, I'll look on my list and I'll get in contact with you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Anita. You had me out here waiting on you to come in.
No, I'll never interrupt you, Dr. Prince. I'm gonna wait until you
Well,
take a breath.
Well, I didn't even know if you was here, so that's why I wasn't sure. But as long as you got them, hey, Clayton, you okay, man? We good. We're gonna get them tears taken care of, okay?
I appreciate it, man.
I don't want you under the knife, man. It's just not necessary. Try this first, and let's see how well we can get this together, okay?
Yeah, I don't want to be on a knife. It's been 7 months. I've been keeping warding off of that. I've been trying to do physical therapy and other things, trying not to do it. So yes, I'm with you.
Got it. Appreciate you. All right. Anyone else out there? Before we go, we down to 43 folks. So I think, what time is it? I don't even know what. Hey, how's it going? Who's this?
This is Sandra Hall from Maryland. I was invited by Miss Beatrice Foster.
Hey, Sandra, how you doing?
I'm doing good. So I have a question about the pH, the water that we drink, because most of the pH water, they're also in plastic bottles. And then the thing about drinking from plastics, because we don't know how long the waters were stored in the plastic bottles. Number one. Number two, the level of the pH, like some pH are like from 7.4, some are like in the 8s and some are in the 9s. But naturally, our body pH is supposed to be from 7.35 to 7.45. So like how much pH water are we drinking, and like what is it doing to us? Because even the pH water, natural water that comes from the well doesn't have that. It's spring water. So it doesn't have that. It doesn't have that alkalinity that everyone is raging about now. Because if you listen to Dr. Sebi, he doesn't promote drinking alkaline water. He says to drink spring water. Because if you eat a lot of green foods and if you eat a lot of green foods, you'll naturally become alkaline. So we're drinking all this pH water, but a lot of it is bottled water. But then there's this theory about bottled water, drinking from bottled water. It also makes people's joints achy if you're prone to achiness and joint achiness. So I was just wondering the safety of these alkaline water, because I know there's one that I used to drink. All of a sudden, I don't see it on the shelves in the store anymore. And I'm like, is there a shortage of it, or did they stop promoting it? I don't understand what it is. But
well, the answer. All right, so yeah, because you had a pretty long question there. So let's see if we can get all this in. So yes, there are certain plastics that will leach into that. So that's why it's important to, if you're gonna drink water from plastic, you want it to be BPH free. And if there's a number on the plastic, it should be somewhere around 7. So these are things that you'll find out later as you're drinking, because certain plastics leach less into the water. But like a lot of the water that we buy at the store, there's a good chance you may be doing that. You may be taking some of that in. So one of the things that I recommend, that I started off doing, I got an alkaline water machine. The reason I got alkaline water machines is because I'm able to use water in its multiple purposes and multiple functions, because water is not just for drinking. Depending on the pH of the water, you can clean your counters, you can clean your food, you can wash your hair, you can wash your face, you can give the baby neutral water. There's a lot of things you can do with water that we didn't know about. It's not just for drinking, but based upon the pH, there are certain things that we can use it for. So I would recommend to everyone out there at some point to get you an alkaline water machine, because at least with the machine, you can attach it to your regular water source. You can filter your tap water, ionize your tap water, and now you have good water. And what I mean by good water is water that's rich with oxygen and water that is ionized. See, the purpose of the alkaline water, the ionized alkaline water, is to neutralize the waste particles in your body. An acidic body is practically a given today for most people. So I've been drinking alkaline water since 2007. way before you knew anything about it, way before the stores was willing to accept it. In fact, I was one of the ones that was pushing it into the stores because I understood the properties of it. I was one of the ones doing the test on it, putting it online and showing people, because when you do the water test, you have a little chemical, it's like a little red chemical that you drop in the water and it changes colors. So if the water changed yellow to red, it was acidic. If it changed from green to purple, it was neutral to alkaline. So I tested Dasani, I tested Aquafina. These were acidic waters. They turned yellow. So that means that if we're drinking Aquafina and Dasani, we're actually promoting disease and diabetes in our bodies. Whereas if you take the alkaline water from your faucet that you just made, it's a dark, rich purple. And if you understand what purple means, you look at the rainbows. The rainbow goes from red all the way to purple, which means it's at a much higher frequency. Even if you look at your chakras, which are the energy centers in your body, it goes from red, which is your root chakra, all the way up to your crown, which is the purple chakra. And that's based upon the frequency. So there are certain waters that carry certain frequencies that helps to neutralize the waste in your body. Dr. Sebi had not really gotten to that point yet. In fact, Dr. Sebi didn't really get to the technology that we have right now. That's why I came on, because I had to take what he did and take it to the next level. And that's what we're doing. We're evolving this program and this process, because remember, Dr. Sebi, he had the knowledge and information, but he didn't have the science. Now, I was trained by Dr. Laela Africa, who was also deep in it. Dr. Africa had started training naturopaths as well before he died or before he was assassinated. I don't know what really happened, but it's just funny that both of them passed before the pandemic, the same as what's his name? The brother Gregory. I can't think of his name. But anyway, these are brothers that were they had the foundation. Dick Gregory, yes. Gregory. So yeah, Dick Gregory was in that too, because he was vegan as well. So ironically, all three of these Black men left the planet before this pandemic happened. So we have no idea why or what happened, but the bottom line is that they had brought a philosophy out, they have brought a science out, but the science had to be refined. It had to be upgraded and updated. And that's what I had done. The alkaline water is essential to the detoxification process, because as soon as those toxins start coming up, that alkaline water is neutralizing them as they come up, and it makes the process more comfortable. Now, I've been drinking alkaline water since 2007, and the only thing this did for me was make me world champion, make me national champion, got me running to college universities. So trust me, there is nothing detrimental about alkaline water. I'd rather be taking it because I've proven that it is okay. Most people are dealing with more of an acidic body than an alkaline body. So you're not going to get somebody as much being too much alkaline as opposed to too much acidic. You're going to see more people that's too acidic than alkaline. So I would say if you can get your alkaline water in a glass container, that's good. That would be the best. If you went to someone and they filled up your alkaline water in a glass container, that's always great. But if you can find a plastic that's BPA free, that's even better. And right now, that's the best we're going to be able to do until everyone has their own machine in their own house. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Who was the doctor you said you trained under?
Dr. Laela Africa.
How do you spell that?
Laila. Laela Africa.
Africa?
AF. Just spell it with Africa. AFRIKA.
Okay, thanks.
All right, you're welcome.
Dr. Prince, before we go, this is Anita. The gentleman who asked you a question about the surgery, could you give me your name again, please?
My name is Andre Clayton. I didn't go to the event, but my wife did. She went to the event.
Andre. So your wife had you to get on the call, right? So what's
Yeah,
your wife's name?
Janelle.
So if Anita, can you just can you put your number